Hello everyone, this is MicroP11 and this is a quick video about an oddity of the modern Windows file system, NTFS, and the files that we download all the time from the internet. This is a needed introduction for the promised part 3 on the Inmarsat decoder. Part 3 is all about the user interface, how to set it up, and how to get the most out of the decoder. And in order to be able to use it, we will need to download it. And this video is about that download and an issue that we're going to run into if we're going to download this on a Windows 10. So here is the repository, and I'm going to download the Quick UI archive. And I'm going to save it into the downloads folder. I'm going to wait a little bit. Okay, it is downloaded. So next we're going to copy the content. I'm going to create a new folder test1, and I'm going to paste the content here. And then the executable for the UI is Scytale-C Quick UI exe. And I will double click to run it. And then this window pops up. And this is not a nice window. This comes from the operating system, and it tells me that the Windows is protecting my PC, and the Microsoft Defender Smart Screen prevented an unrecognized application from starting. And running this application might put my PC at risk. And I have two options, which in fact are identical, which are not to run this application. I can either close the window pressing the X button or pressing the don't run button. So don't run, I cannot run it. If I try to run it again, I am in the same predicament. So I'm going to click on the more info, and then two more pieces of information are coming. Not very helpful. One is telling me that the name of the application is this, and the other one is telling me that the publisher is unknown. Although if I cannot see it right now, but I will show you that there is actually an author and everything in that executable. I can now run it anyway. It's a pretty bad way to tell somebody to run something nowadays on a computer. You never know what you run, so run anyway is not very happy. So I'm going to click and run it anyway. And now the application actually opens. And I say no to close it. And if I right click, if I try to open it again, now it remembers that I left it run the first time, so it won't bother me again asking me if I want to run it and telling me it's unsafe. So the question comes, how does the operating system know that this file is unsafe? Based on what? Because I have compiled the file, I have put it into an archive, and I uploaded it myself, so I know that there's nothing in there. I know for certain. You, as a user, you may not know, and you should not trust things that you download from the internet of which you don't know what they are. So how does it know? What makes it believe that there's something wrong with this? So if I am going to, and I'm going to go back to the archive that I downloaded. So go back to the downloads, and this is the file that I downloaded. So I'm going to copy the content again, and I'm going to put it back into that test folder. And I go to this file, and I right click on it and I go to properties, and the properties application opens, and there is this security flag showing up down here which says this file came from another computer. So again, even the properties application can detect that there is something with this application that the operating system might warn the user about. And I can click this to unblock it. And if I do that, then I can open it safely. Or not safely, I can open it. I do not know how safe it is, but it will let me open. So I say, let me show you, cancel this. So I cannot open it right now because that checkbox is not checked. So I close it, I go here and I go properties and I unblock it. And now I say, okay. And now I can open it. So that flag comes from the archive, and that flag is here inherited by every file in that archive. So even if I open the DLL files, I go properties, the security flag is still there. So what is wrong with that file archive that I downloaded it that the OS potentially believes it's unsafe? It turns out that the modern NTFS file system has a feature called streams. Every file contains a number of invisible files attached to it. And one of these files is actually a file that tells that when you download a file, the operating system will record information of where you downloaded that file from. And we can see that information. We go, so this is a PowerShell that points to this location. And then if I list the content, it's this file. And we can use cat to see the content of that file. And I will add to this zone. And then there is a flag, pardon me, there's a flag called identifier. And then this is the information that comes through. So we have a zone trace. It looks like an INI file that has 3 entries. One of zone ID, one of refer URL, and this is where I downloaded, or I thought I downloaded the file from, and this is where actually the file came from. But nonetheless, this is what tells the operating system that this file, the provenience of this file. And the problem is, well, how do I get rid of this? Now I know where it's coming from, but the message that pops up on my screen is nothing telling me that this file comes from that location. It tells me that this file is potentially unsafe. So turns out this problem appeared with when the operating system switched from FAT32 to NTFS, and not for the beginning of the switch, but sometime recent. I would say maybe a year or 2 years ago, maybe longer, but I don't remember seeing this more than maybe 2 years ago. So I thought, well, how can I get rid of this? And I have a USB stick, which I'm going to plug in, and I'm going to format in FAT32. And the FAT32 file system does not have support for this stream, for these streams, for this zone info. So I'm going to format this FAT32, and this might take a few seconds because it's a 14 gig memory stick. So, okay, close. So I'm going to move this file from the downloads, say cut, and then paste it here. And now I put it on an operating system, on a file system that doesn't know about streams and doesn't know about zone information. And now I'm just going to put it back. I'm going to move it back to downloads. It just got copied, so I'm just going to delete it from here. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, it's in downloads again. So now let's try to see that information again. And this time the command fails because this part, this stream attached to our file does not exist anymore. It was stripped off by moving it on a file system that doesn't know about Zone. So as you can imagine now, there's nothing to be inherited into these files. So if I copy this into, let's say, test1, maybe we can create another folder, new folder, test2. We paste it in here. And then even if I right click on the file, you can see that there's no security flag. And if I double click on it, it opens. So I would not say you to trust any file that you download from the internet, but this is one way to find out if the actual message that you see is a real issue or is just something that a zone identifier attached to your file. And this applies to every single file that you download from the internet on a Windows 10, on a recent Windows 10. And there is some literature and there are some discussions on the internet about how do you go around allowing people to believe that your software is safe. And this hurts small businesses and hurts people that are trying to get recognized by publishing applications. So thank you everyone, and wish you a good day, and see you for the real part 3. Let's call this part 2.5, and see you for the real part 3 on Scytale-C, and we are going to talk about the user interface and how we can visualize the information that we are decoding from the Inmarsat-C system. Thank you.